everyone. Welcome to Go Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just getting ready backstage to get saucy. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be a great show. It's always a great show because of you and you. Both of you. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get lit today. I'm running out of breath from all that. I'm such an unhealthy
Says the guy who
shit.
routinely goes to the gym. He does a few dance moves and he's winded.
I need to do more cardio. I'm so out of shape. But thank you so much. It's not my birthday. When is that thing gonna die? Thank you so much for joining us. Joining us very close to our Sourceversary. And also to be joined by these two incredible gents at Asa with his new setup where he's sitting in the dark, looking very blurry, and he's got a shaven face. Asa, how are you?
I was fine until you said that, and I noticed, I am sitting in the dark, and I'm all like, that's no good. Oh well, new setup. Apart from that, I'm fantastic. I'm looking forward to this. Let's just get on with it, so no one has to look at my dark room.
Oh, okay, no problem at all. I know that sign throws off the camera. That's why I don't turn it on for these. It's hard. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, look at this. One day Rand will show his face, but before that I will squeeze his cheeks on his face in real life. I was hoping it would be this year, but I don't know when that's
It'll be
happen.
never, Gaz.
Don't you dare break my dreams. Rand Old Thor 19. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. It's always a pleasure to be here with Asa and Gaz.
I was waiting.
Yeah. We don't really have that much to talk about because nothing's going on in the gaming world, but I'm sure I'm sure Gaz has picked out some interesting topics to sauce us with, right? Because that's what he does.
Of course.
So, and I'm here with one of my besties, Code Eastwood. So, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be lit. The news is teetered off, and YouTube seems to be dying a death, but it doesn't matter. It's not like
There's news. Yeah,
there is news. There's
it's
news.
kind of bounced off a different direction, but
Yeah, exactly. And it's gonna be saucy. Don't worry about it. Last but certainly not least, it's Colt Eastwood. How are you doing, sir? Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you for having me. I feel like I'm contributing to the community when I'm on your show, because Rand and I haven't made a lot of videos lately because the Xbox-centric news has been very dead. But a lot of the stuff we're talking about kind of bounces off PlayStation and kind of circles back around to Xbox. So we do have quite a bit different topics to talk about, like we talked about before the show started. But thank you for having me here, and we can't wait for things to ramp up, and it's time. It is time.
It is, absolutely. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. 135 people already. Just smash that like button. We're going to get into the source. Speaking of the source, let's start off with a little bit of a lighter note, depending on who you're asking here, because if you happen to watch our source video, we charted the insane levels that console warring can take. In which case, and I'm talking about one particular fanboy who has just stolen all our hearts. Dr. Shavira, aka PS Vortex. This guy did something that I think shocked everyone. When has a fanboy ever broken mainstream news for console warring? I have never in my life seen that. I can't think of an example.
I can't think of one. Rand, can you think in the annals of your mind, has there been like somebody in the community that's been called out by mainstream media?
He's dead.
I'm muted. My bad. I was muted. No, this is like the first one that, because there's a lot of idiots out there on social media doing the console war, or as it's now referred to, my console passion. But I never saw one go this way. Like, look, there are a lot of idiots out there, but this was one of the dumbest, most idiotic things I had ever seen. Like, I know a lot of people like to troll on the internet. You don't know if they're actually being truthful, right? But this dude took it to a completely new level that was not only it was like not moral, it wasn't morally right, and it definitely was unethical. Like the idea of, hey, I'm gonna pwn these Xbots, right? They don't think that I'm a real doctor. They don't think that I have the credentials. Well, I'll show them. I'm gonna film myself in the operating room so I can show someone on an operating table and then they show their information. That'll prove the superiority of not only, you know, PlayStation fans, but that I'm better, you know, and I'm not lying, right? And
I got facts because I have a medical degree. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's about to ruin his entire life. Ruin his entire life over stupid console passion, right? I was dumbfounded. And we talked a little bit about it on Xbox 2 last night. Yesterday, Jez kind of said he felt sorry for the guy, but I was like, I don't feel sorry for the guy at all. It's like when you're like going for that sort of medical field, you know what you can and can't do, right? You know, you're like, and plus, like, you're in an operating room. Isn't that supposed to be a clean room? You're not supposed to bring your phones in there. And like the idea of like, it completely just, I couldn't understand the thought process of that type of person. I just don't. And it blew my mind. And I don't feel bad one way for that guy for whatever falls down upon him. Like, he should have known better. And it was insane, guys. It was insane. Just like the video.
I mean, one thing I kind of don't feel sorry for him. I don't want him to lose. Well, maybe he should. I don't know. I'm not the arbiter in deciding whether or not he deserves to lose his job or not. But I'm a softie at heart, despite my source. But when it comes to that, I won't. I mean, kind of.
I mean, we can sit here as somebody who we didn't make this mistake. I didn't go to medical school for 4 to 6 years and do a year residency and become a nurse anesthetist or anesthesiologist, whatever he is. I think he's a nurse anesthetist. But we can't think about, like, you know, Gaz is kind of like, if it was me, should he lose his job? It's really about if he broke a rule that is like a license removal event, like,
yeah.
So
I mean, that's a good point.
Bringing out, like Rand said, he brought out his phone in a clean OR. He's in an operating room. He brought out his phone that he was touching and slobbering on while he was looking at PlayStation 5 pictures, and he brought this out in an operating room. And then it's one thing if he would have recorded a selfie of himself saying, "Look, I'm a doctor. I'm wearing scrubs. You know, I got the whole 9 yards." Right? Like that could have been it, and people could have flipped out their own way. But he made 2 more mistakes. He turned the camera on the docs, nurses, surgical techs, and the patient laying there getting their gallbladder removed. And then when that wasn't enough, he turned the camera to the medical form with all the information. Now, number 3 is you lose your license, you don't work in this hospital, you'll never work in this field again. So it's not up to us if we should feel sorry for him or if we should feel like he deserves this or that. It was just console war. Like, just showing that confidential medical form. He's in India, and they do have an equivalent to HIPAA, which means that right to privacy has to be adhered to 100%. And it's at this point, I think he burned all of his social media accounts, and he's waiting for the shoe to drop, because at this point he's waiting for those reviews to get to the community manager, the community supervisor of the hospital, and then start asking around and saying, what is this? And then once they dig in and find the video, they're like, that's, you know, what's his name? It's going to be messy, and the guy's in big trouble. I talked for a really long time. I'll say one more thing. This guy has taken years of ethics courses, ethics training, ethics refreshers, yearly ethics tests that he has to take in his job. And he still took out his phone and pointed his video camera at a medical form. I'm Colt Eastwood. Thank you for having me on.
Wow, that's a good way to actually end that. But that point about him. I don't understand the guy's brain. Why did you not blur out the patient's information? What made you like? Come on, the guy has called out people for being stupid. Like I said in my video, stupid journalists, stupid, and his persona, which is fine if you want to do that on Twitter and just be console warring. I don't mind that. Of course I don't. But Asa, come on, like, I know you don't like to talk about console warring, and I'm just intrigued to put you in an awkward position to talk about this. But at some point, you must have been a little bit bewildered by the whole thing, no?
Bewildered, yeah. I have no sympathy, to be honest. I know you say that you do, but like Colt says, that's like a serious breach in a position of care. That's the thing. It's not like you doing your lawyering and like evil works and breaching some code. This is like a position of care. You can't be doing that. So no, I don't have sympathy. Like, actions have consequences, and he's going to get all of them.
Yeah.
And console passion.
Console passion. But imagine being the manager of the hospital. Like, what the flip? What the? They are like, what the hell are these reviews on Google? And I think they're removing some because I'm watching that. But just the notion of them waking up is like, I won't swear here, but you see our source video where I was swearing in Hindi. And I'd like to think that's pretty much how the manager was like. So when I saw it, someone DM'd it to me. I instantly, and this is the thing with the internet, and you have to be careful, I instantly hit screen record. I'm like, this guy's gonna delete this shit. Let me get the receipts, because this is a gift for the source boss. This is the gift. Who does that?
Like, what's his name? What's his name? Rand from Lord of the Rings. It's a gift.
Oh,
my
Boromir. This is
Boromir.
a gift. One does not simply take out a video camera in an operating room.
Well, Vice reported on it, and that is hilarious. We're console fanboys. Everyone talks about the worst fanboys. Who are the worst fanboys? Can you ever say anything other Xbox fanboys made the news like that? It probably will happen. Might be me. But yeah, that's a whole different kettle of fish. I don't understand that. Let me read this super chat.
Healthy reminder for you though, Gaz. Just like healthy reminder. That's not representative of all the people that like PlayStation. Please, like
that's literally
when you're sitting there saying like, oh, they've definitely got the worst fanboys, because one person who now doesn't exist anymore.
PlayStation has the worst fanboys ever.
You're going to double down on that, guys?
I'm just trying. I don't know. It's just a stupid statement.
What about the Elden Ring fanboys? Maybe we'll talk about that later.
We will do. Wait, and we will definitely intended to do that. But before, let me read this super chat. Huggy Chatty, thanks so much for the $5 super chat. Huggy. Dr. Pony did not like the supposed source video. It's unfair to call out Dr. Pony's stupidity. Console passion. Game on sauce. Hate Rand Colt Asa and Gaz. Hey Huggy. Huggy's getting messy. Huggy doesn't stop from firing shots, and that's why we love you, Huggy. Then we've got Flame. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He goes, happy Saturday, y'all. Triangle strategy on the Switch, even though it runs at 10 frames per second, is a game of the year. But happy birthday, Dr. Gaz. What the hell is triangle strategy? I've heard someone else say that. Is he actually being serious? Are you being serious, Flame? Let me know. Gamers Watch. Shout out to you guys if you don't know who Gamers Watch were. They were in our last source video, not the one yesterday, but the one before. He says, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Very generous of you. 1 year of source. Keep going, guys. You're a huge inspiration to many creators. Oh wow, come on, man, that's crazy. You're lucky that the content writes itself. That's why paging Dr. Pony. It does write itself. There was only a few ways that skit could have gone, because the skit had written itself. Felipe Prieto, thank you so much for the $2 something. 1v1 Gaz versus Rand live stream for charity and bragging. Today, that's actually a good segue to what I was going to talk about. Rand L. Thor 19. I saw you getting flack because it seems like you can't win you have to get good, or if you're good, then you're too good. You have, sir, completed Elden Ring. Not only have you completed Elden Ring, you did that in under 70 hours, if I'm correct. And you have 100% completed it. 66 hours. I'm looking at a tweet now at level.
Well, I mean, I have all the achievements. I don't know if that means like 100%, because I didn't do every quest line in the game.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I got all the achievements, so finished the game of the year without a doubt. I'm not sure if any other game is going to be able to claim that from Elden Ring. It's quite the experience. 70 hours of just awesomeness. And yeah, I had a great time playing it. So,
jeez, how did you do that? See, you did that with Returnal to me, and you said like you didn't die at the first 3 bosses. And as soon as I saw that tweet, I was like, right, you know what? This guy, he just I can do that, and I couldn't do. I
beat each of the bosses in Returnal without dying. I mean, obviously, I had some deaths beating through Returnal, but I think I only died like 15 times. Returnal's an amazing game, and then Sifu, which just came out, which is incredible. I know you've been playing it. Like, how good is Sifu, guys?
Sifu is amazing. Such an amazing game. I feel like it deserves a little bit more exposure.
Like, we need to get Colt Eastwood to play Sifu.
Oh, Colt Eastwood can get past the tutorial.
What? Colt, you can't get past the tutorial?
I was kidding. No, he definitely can. He definitely can.
I do this face to you behind the scenes all the time.
Oh shit! No, but
I just saw the replay. Like my mouth's like this big.
No, I mean Sifu, you have to play. Yeah, you really have to play. But obviously, there's so many games to play. But I think it's a work of art. That game, such a good game.
Elden Ring, this is the first time that I've really like buckled down and played one of the more difficult games in all of gaming. Like the hardest game, right? Dark Souls are like some of the hardest games around, right? This is the first time I buckled down and really tried to play it. And the reaction of people is so crazy across the board about this game. Like they love it to death, right?
Yeah.
And then they defend it like crazy. It has been a roller coaster of how people react to Elden Ring. It's crazy.
Well, the Souls community, there's a faction of the Souls community that are definitely gatekeepers. Like, you have to play the game a specific way.
Oh, yeah.
You can't use co-op, and you can't use magic builds, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, because if you do that... You can't
look up guides. You got to find everything organically.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But there's also a lot of other, people in the Souls community that are very welcoming, that will help you out and stuff. But I don't know. This is like one of those things where it's like they put this game on a pedestal and they're like, you're not a true gamer if you haven't beaten it, right? And it's just like, bro, okay. Anybody who's played Elden Ring will know if they've gotten to the point where you get the Mimic tier, and if you actually use the Mimic tier as a summon, the game honestly becomes a joke after that. Like, it's the Mimic tier is not scaled properly. And I was having an okay time of it before that part. Like, I just used two great swords. I would run in, jump attack, which does a lot of damage, and I was killing most enemies in 1 to 3 hits. And most bosses I was beating, like within 5 attempts or whatever. But as soon as I got the Mimic tier, and you can basically summon a copy of yourself, which has like more health than you do, I don't think I basically died to a boss again the rest of the game. Like, I would beat them majority of the time, if 90% of the time, the first try.
Because your Mimic keeps the boss busy?
Well, because the Mimic will take aggro on the boss, so you can basically just attack without getting attacked. Yeah. And he has all your same stats and stuff except for the health, because it's just ridiculous. So like, I posted a video of me beating a boss yesterday, and I beat him in like 50 seconds, and it was trivial because of the Mimic tier. So it's I don't know if they're gonna have to like nerf that, because it kind of but then again, you don't have to actually call in that that ash or that summon if you don't want to.
It would probably be fine
But,
if you didn't scale with your gamer score, though, right? Randall Thor's got this all-powerful man with a million mimic tier running around one-shotting the bosses. That's what happened.
Yeah, no. And I it's just so yeah, I mean, I love the Elden Ring. I mean, I pretty much went everywhere. I mean, I used some guides to I didn't know how to do the third ending for the bad ending, so I looked that up, and when I got towards the end, I looked up some of the guides for like where the legendary stuff was because I didn't want to miss it in one of the achievements. So I looked up and I'm like, okay. I looked up a couple of other quest lines to make sure that I wouldn't miss anything. But for the most part, like I would scour the map from end to end to find like all the locations and stuff like that. And I know you can rune farm. There's a lot of big rune farms, but like I think the only thing I did was I beat a boss that was, I think I beat the Knight Cavalry boss by luring him off the edge. So it gave me like 40,000 runes when I was like level 50. So I think I got maybe a 15 to 20 level boost from that.
Jeez.
But that's it. But like even the level is not really important in the game because like your level really doesn't determine their damage output, especially for like I was running a 2 greatsword build. Strength doesn't necessarily matter, and I was explaining that to Colt. It's not like your strength that matters because strength is only important enough to like actually use the weapons, and like certain weapons will be like you can properly use this at 30 strength or 35 strength or whatever. But what matters most is actually upgrading the weapons themselves. That's actually how you do more damage, and a lot of people don't really understand that. So you need to find those smithing stones and stuff. But what a game, guys! What a game!
It is. I think I need to pick your brains on it because I'm early on, but I have the samurai class, and I'm just enjoying it. Even though I'm struggling with like my leveling has been terrible, I haven't farmed or anything. I had a great time playing with Dealer. We were doing co-op, and Dealer's like, "You died again." I'm like, "Sorry, man." Rats would kill me as Dealer's killing the whole level for me, and I'm just like, "A rat killed me, Dealer. Sorry, let's go back." But I think the game is really special. I didn't expect it. I knew it was going to be good. We had a prediction. Me and Acer said it was going to be a 91, which was one of the highest ones that people were predicting because that it just looked good. But I didn't know what to expect. I think this adds pressure on other game developers. Let me take this to another thing here. Colt, Elden Ring, look, this game, what surprises me about this game is just how big it is, how diverse the levels are. There's so much content, so much variety in enemy types, in just the mood, everything. I think about that and you're going to be like, Gaz, you're such a piece of shit for saying this. But look at this and compare this to something like Halo that has one biome and hardly any variety. And I'm thinking by the end of the Halo's 10-year lifespan, it probably will struggle to match how much diversity and breadth of content Elden Ring has. Is that a fair comparison to make chat come at me?
Absolutely, it's totally fair. Why would I be mad at that? I grew up over the past 20 years playing 6 mainline Halo games. Yeah. Where you go to a different biome every other mission. And I played, I was just talking about this the other day. I think Rand and I were on the phone. I was like, how is it that I went to this open world in Halo that I loved? Excuse me. And I loved that combat in that world. But it was just gray rock, evergreen trees, sage, and grass, right? That's all it was the whole time, except for some interior stuff. And I thought about how I gave that game like a 9 or 9.5. And after things kind of settle in, you get some time and you think about what their roadmap is. What in the heck? Like, why aren't there different areas? Why couldn't they just like break the ring up into a snow area, a jungle area? And they didn't. Elden Ring it's a marvel. The world is way bigger, 5 to 10 times bigger. And you walk through these, and people say that Elden Ring looks like a last generation game. I don't give a flying crap. That game is beautiful in its own way. It's got massive scale. There's huge buildings that just are so colossal, and the enemies are so big. It just, you feel so small. You feel very powerful. You feel very afraid. And the game is really beautiful. The music is really nice. It reminds me of Jeremy Soul's tracks that he does in Skyrim when you're out walking in the meadows and you're going through the world. Like, it's such a great thing. People should aspire to this. Like Rand said, it's not going to get knocked down from Game of the Year. It'll definitely be Game of the Year like Sekiro was.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think so too. Rand, what do you think about this? I have a feeling that the game kind of puts a lot of big games to shame. In terms of, it's a full, there's no like dependency on live games as a service, future content. It's so complete and brimming with content. Don't you think it put? I would, if I were Nintendo and I'm working on Breath of the Wild too, I'd be like, all right, we are not releasing that this year because one, we're not going to win that Game of the Year award, or it's going to be
I think
harder.
you miss Nintendo. It's Nintendo, guys. Like Breath of the Wild. That's I think the only game that compete. Even though I'm really looking forward to God of War Ragnarok, I just kind of look at it as like, I think the voters will vote for Elden Ring. But so Elden Ring is this like. It's not a games as a service, so it's fully complete. It has a lot more content than most games, period. Like, 70-hour game, 80-hour game for most people, all these different areas that are all interconnected. If you see it, like a big castle in the distance, you can actually go to that castle, and there's actually a level that you can go through there. It also doesn't rely on the big AAA thing of cutscenes everywhere because the game has minimal cutscenes, right? There's not a lot of dialogue. A lot of the story is mostly obtuse if you're willing to dive into the lore. Like most of it is kind of like you may basically come to your own interpretation of what the story means.
I love that.
And then when you compare it to other open world games, which are basically, as what I think Jeff Grubb called it, a map game or a checklist game where you got like icons everywhere, right? Elden Ring is basically just like, no, here's the map, and we're really not going to have anything on the map. You have to discover it for yourself, right? There's no like, everything's not already on the map. Like if this was Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, everything would be on the map already, and you just would go there. This is like self-discovery where you need to go find the locations. And then it does put it on the map. So it definitely seems like the opposite of current AAA open world stuff, which is, I think, refreshing for a lot of people after, playing through a lot of these bigger open world games that are basically checklists, So I think a lot of people are looking at it as a refreshing change. And it's incredible that after all this time from Software doing the Dark Souls series, doing Demon Souls originally, doing Sekiro, it's Elden Ring, a game that isn't Dark Souls 4. Well, it is Dark Souls 4, but it's not called Dark Souls, right? Is the one that burst into the mainstream, like number one on MPD, selling millions and millions and millions of copies, right? And it makes you wonder, like, what made this game different than the others? Is it because it's not Dark Souls 4? Like, when people see, Dark Souls 4, that immediately turns people off because people are like, I don't like Dark Souls, right? But now it's like, it's Elden Ring, so it's a new IP, and it doesn't have the baggage that those games have for some people. And maybe the open world is more appealing. It definitely was more appealing to me as someone who wasn't the biggest fan of Dark Souls.
Yeah, for me as well.
So I think it's they created something special here. I think there'll be a lot of game developers that try to understand why it was highly rated and why it sold so well, because this industry is very much a copycat industry. Everybody copies what everybody else does that is successful, and this is going to be really successful. So in a few years, I mean, remember, they started the whole Souls genre, and then everybody kind of hopped onto it, and we saw a lot of, it created its own genre, like the Souls genre, right? Or Souls-like. And now a lot of these... so like in 4 years, in 3 to 4 years, we'll see a lot of games start to copy, Elden Ring and what they consider, the success points for that game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
a lot of AAA games lately, I've noticed over the past few years, have tried to use big portions of the Souls games. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rand, but and I don't know if you've played enough of it, but doesn't Assassin's Creed Valhalla, use some of the way you get circled in with a boss, and they're very, very difficult? God of War in 2018 had the Valkyries, and you had to be really, really careful about how you fought them. You couldn't fight them like you do the other enemies. I feel like there's a lot of these Souls type things where Jedi Fallen Order was another one.
Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order,
like half of the Souls thing, and that was my first time playing a game where, you know, like Dealer was explaining to me when we first started playing, it's like you have to rest at one of those circle spots and you'll get all your stuff back, but all the enemies respawn. I'm like, what? Like, what is this? Because I didn't play Souls games, and I made it all the way through that. But
I mean, even Assassin's Creed Origins,
that's what I was going to say.
When they changed the combat, to be more in line with Dark Souls.
You had to be within proximity. There wasn't any type of set combat. You had to get within striking distance and get the angle, which was new and something I really like. So I feel like the gaming slowly inched me towards Elden Ring, and then I played Elden Ring and I got stopped so quickly. But I got to hear what Asa's opinion is on this, because he plays a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I was kind of leading to that.
No, you weren't. You were just going to forget. I mean,
I was going to ask you about the game design seeping into future games. Talk to us.
I hope that they pick the right things when they're doing it, because you could try and copy Elden Ring and make an absolute disaster of a game if you copy like the obtuse menus and things rather than what's magical about it. And for me, the thing that makes it better than the typical checklist map district based game is something that open world games haven't really done since Skyrim, in that everywhere you look there's somewhere that you want to go. And I know people say Breath of the Wild does that as well, but for me Skyrim has things going on rather than just places to go. And it's like, I wonder how powerful that particular enemy is. I'm gonna go and give him a little nibble. Oh, I regret they gave me a big nibble and I'm dead. And like, just everywhere you go, there's just stuff that you want to go closer. Well, you don't. You're gonna die most of the time when you go and see what it is. But there's just stuff everywhere, things happening. It's not go to this checklist point on a map and complete this challenge again and see if you can get 3 stars. It's like there's a whole load of NPCs just doing stuff. They're not talking to you. They don't care that you're there. There's just stuff going on everywhere, and I like it a lot for that reason.
That's the thing. No, we talked about just before Elden Ring released about game design and what needs to change, and that's to me, in a lot of ways, I know there's a Souls community that's quite committed to the cause of Souls games and really loves and enamored with the formula, maybe perhaps for this reason. But I think the mainstream factor, along with someone mentioned in chat, George R.R. Martin's involvement, blah blah blah, it's the fact that people want something to feel less like checklist gamey copy and paste Assassin's Creed. It just feels like a living, breathing world, and that's because of the lack of a user interface slapped on there. I mean, there's very little there on screen, and I love that. I love the minimalistic thing on there. I don't, talk about pure visual fidelity, but the art style carries the game. It's like you forget about I don't care. I think there's a beautiful game. It's just a great argument for art style over raw visual fidelity in this game, but also, like you said, just feels like a living open world without that, straying away from that formula. But do you think, Asa, that, like Rand was suggesting, I was kind of leading to this, that because this industry is hyper competitive and because its success is enormous, it's exceeded expectations, not just critically but in terms of sales, do you think people will copy, or developers will look at this eagerly? Will this now cause people to break the mold of the Ubisoft formula?
Well, absolutely, and that's why I say I hope they understand what makes it good and don't pick the wrong things, because it's really not the difficulty that makes it good. All right, I know a lot of people are into that, but it's not the difficulty that sets it apart. Like Rand says, it's not even that hard once you get into it. Yeah, and I said, like, you go for a little nibble and you get ripped to pieces. The Souls games have never sacrificed anything for your convenience, and that's a Souls thing, and that's not necessarily the elements that need to be taken on board. But mainstream games, the Ubisoft games, and the games that have copied them, so Sony have done it a lot with Horizon and Ghost of Tsushima as well. It's always been Insomniac's biggest weakness for me too, with Sunset Overdrive and Spider-Man. had fantastic core games, but the stuff around it was less keen on. So yeah, I hope that they take the right things. They don't go, we need everybody to die a lot. That's what's going to make our games great. That's not the key.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, and I hope so. That's a very good point about the fact that they pick the right things there. There's a lot there. It's like an artisan's game. That's what it feels like to me, and I really love it. I can't play it in long stints. For me, it's a battle of attrition playing that game. Sometimes I just can play it in short bursts. Me and Dealer, I think we're saying the same thing. We love the game, but we can only play it a little bit, and then it just becomes a little bit too much for us. But that's
how I am too. I mean, and I've talked to Rand. Rand, you and I were talking the other night for like 3 hours, and you were just breaking down all this stuff to where I could really get a grasp of what I should be doing in the game. But I know Rand. I've talked to Rand for a long time. And I'll tell the audience, like, because Gaz and I were kind of puffing Rand up about how amazing he is as a video game player.
No. I'm not better than anyone.
Shut up.
No.
Let me just say this. Of course, we're not going to puff Rand up and say he's the best, but it's just a fact. Rand has played so many games. He's very focused. So when he plays a game, he tries to play it really, really well. And he's done it like he has results to show that he does really well at games. So my whole thing was Rand sits down and plays a game. He's focused. He's not in party chat like a lot of us are. He does his things like, I want to be in the mood. I want to be focused. I want to be at my best. I want to just take in everything the game has to offer. And all that translates into Rand playing the game for 70 hours and like just stomping it into the ground, right? But for me, I'll play like sometimes I'll play for an hour and I'll go into clear a canyon or clear a cave, get stomped by the enemy, come back, do it over, do it like 5 times. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I'll set my controller down because I don't lose my temper. I'm just like, okay, that's not fun. All right, I'll sit down my controller, bring the steering wheel over, drive in Forza Horizon for a little bit. My kids need something. I go, it's just like that's just my life, right? But Rand's just focused. And when I saw him tweet out his numbers and his results for the game and saw 90% of the people are like, you're a liar. There's no way. I'm like, guys, calm down. Just calm down, please.
People get a little bit salty over other people's success. But the point, when you're talking about how Rand plays the game, I was imagining the scene from he's lighting the candles up and watching Everybody Loves Raymond. What's that 40-year-old virgin? I'm not implying anything there, but it's just like he gets in the zone. No. It was just that scene. He goes, party chat, exit. This is my time now. It's right. Time to finish Elden Ring. Time to finish Return. Or time to finish
there's
Seafood.
Not a lot of games where I can sit and have Rand play something while we're talking. Like if Rand and I get on party chat, he
never joins us in party chat because he's just sitting there with candles on, masturbating over Elden Ring.
Yes!
Sorry.
Right, Rand? Like most of the time when we're in party chat later in the evening or late at night, like you're not playing a game, you're just sitting with the headset on, chilling, talking with us. Rand doesn't.
It depends on the game. Like I prefer to play games by myself. There's some games like Forza Horizon where like you can just chill, not have to be worried about everything. But usually for the first playthrough of a game, like Sifu and Elden Ring and all these other ones, like I don't want to be in a party because I don't want to be disturbed. I don't want to have somebody who's constantly telling me how good some game is every 5 minutes, bringing me out of my experience. Like, so most of the time when I play something, I'm by myself. Yeah. And that's how I enjoy. That's how I enjoy. Like, that's how I've always been. I just and then
immerse yourself into the world.
Yeah, that's just how I enjoy playing my video games, man.
Exactly. You can't talk to people and watch guides at the same time.
That is true. It's very difficult. That's very difficult.
I never heard that one.
You know what? That's easy. You can just ignore what Colt's saying while watching a YouTube video.
Oh man! Basically, Rand is saying he's a PlayStation fanboy because that's what PlayStation fanboys do. They have no friends. So I'm just kidding. Shabs, thank you so much for the member chat. He says, "Congrats on the 1 year of #Source Game on Source. Glad to see my 2 favorite creators together. If Bloodborne Remaster is announced, I'll make an OnlyFans. Happy birthday, Gaz. Shabs, I would definitely subscribe. Thank you so much, man. Epoxy, thank you so much for being a member. He says, happy first birthday, Gaz, the Source Troll. Going to be a fire show with Ace of Cold and Randall Tomato. Oh, Tomato. However you want to say it. Thank you, Epoxy.
I just blocked Brand on Twitter.
RWK, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Happy birthday, panel. Oh, thank you. Perfect, everyone. Happy birthday, everyone. This is how it feels. Smoke Show. Thank you so much for the $2 Canadian. He Thanos snapped himself out of online existence talking about Shavira. I hope he comes back just for the.
Like you said in your sauce video, please come back so you have more material.
Yeah, please. He's been featuring in the last video. I said it's in Hindi, the language, Indian language. It just means I said, Shavira, what are you doing in Hindi? And then the next week he does this. So of course, it's like a prophecy. God, genius. Special Nick. Yeah, sorry.
If he does come back, we'll see if he's learned his lesson or if he takes another video of his new career.
As he's dipping fries in the yeah.
Hello guys, I'm working at the morgue now. This is Margaret. She died from Ghost Warring. She had an Xbox fan. Mother bastard bitch.
He's at the morgue with GT7. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I might buy that this week. I think it's time.
No, don't you try and lessen your blow. You know what you were doing. You want to shit on PlayStation.
You shut your mouth. You shut that mouth.
Just say you want to shit on PlayStation. Just shit on PlayStation. Don't have to get a disclaimer. Just do it. I'll allow you to do it. Just you want to shit on PlayStation.
I will go through the network cable and I will choke you out. Last night, Destin Legary was streaming him playing with the steering wheel on his desk. The license. Gosh, I can't even think. You flustered me. He was streaming himself trying to get the license, doing like all the little mini challenges, and he was talking to the chat and stuff while he was doing it. And it was pretty fun. I'm like, oh man, maybe I will get that. But boy, that game's looking spooky-ish.
Well, yeah, Gran Turismo, if you want to play that, just buy a Real Racing 3 on Android.
Well, I already bought GT Sport, which I haven't played much because it's just not as fun as the other games, but we'll see. No hate.
Yeah,
we might talk about that today as they
Next Level Gaming, great people, and they were playing this game. And they one of the things I didn't like about was that the game seems to really want you to demand that you upgrade your car in order to progress, to at least become first place or something like that.
That's
but
good.
Gran Turismo, I mean, but generally the grind is quite grindy, so the game gives you options to buy the cars, and it's just like whereas Forza always gave you the cars in abundance along with credits. I haven't played it. I think it looks really nice in cockpit mode and replay mode, but everything else just like the third person camera is really weak. I don't understand why that is. I haven't played it. A massive disclaimer. I will get it. I do like the driving, like the feel of it. I actually preferred Gran Turismo Sport's feel from the brief playthrough over Forza Motorsport 7, but I know I just like the feel better. I gotta
say something about what you said. I love Forza Motorsport. And when I play the game, I'm like, they keep throwing money at you and throwing free cars.
Yeah.
There's kind of a teeter-totter effect here. And Rand doesn't give two flying craps about racing games. But when I played Gran Turismo 1 on the PlayStation 1 in like 1999, I loved sitting there. I'll give my age. I'll just give my age. I'm old. But I was sitting there as a 20-something-year-old, like early 20-year-old. I would sit there for hours and go through races over and over so I could get one air intake, and then I was like 2 horsepower faster, and then I could finally eke out and win the next race, and then I got like the next weight reduction, and then I could just do these races over and over, and I worked my way through it, and it was a really great feeling to really work my way up to bigger and better cars, starting with a Honda Civic sedan. The same car my wife had at the time. So it was a really amazing experience. But then I think, Colt, you're not 22 or whatever anymore. You're not going to want to sit there and grind and pull off 4 pounds on your car. But I kind of like that sense of accomplishment that the original PlayStation GT games did. And it sounds like if it's doing that, it might be pretty cool. But I don't know if I want to do that anymore. So
you played it so differently to me, Cole. I played that same one. I bought some Mitsubishi that you could upgrade with twin turbos, and I just smashed into walls and cars into first place and everything, and it was fine.
I did that sometimes too. Like I had to T-bone a car so I could eke out one of those turns and get up ahead and win the race.
The good news though, Cole, if you want that air intake now and you've not got the time, just buy some credits. Everybody wins.
And that's the thing. Yeah, that's a bit crap. It kind of takes away from it. Well, you don't have to buy it, grind it. But I guess, I don't know. Special Nick, thank you so much for the $3 super chat, because Gaz has prepared some serious sauce for Xbox Era. Xbox Era is on after in about... So this is why we're going to end it as on time in 2 hours straight, because it's a special episode for Xbox Era, and they've got Phil Spencer making an appearance or doing some kind of thing. I'm not going to say what, but there's some extra special from the community to celebrate their 100th episode. So we will, once we end, we will usher you lovely viewers kindly to watch their stuff. Special Nick, thank you for the super chat. I will still end your life. Wandering Dutch, thank you so much for the membership, because happy birthday, Gaz. Oh, happy birthday, 1 year of the sauce. Thank you so much, Wandering Dutch. It means a lot, man. Don Otaku, thank you for the $5 super chat, because Breath of the Wild 2 will beat Elden Ring for Game of the Year. I guarantee it. Rand, is Breath of the Wild 2 even coming out this year, do you think?
I mean, it's supposed to. We'll have to wait and see. I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, they. I think they said last year it's supposed to be coming out this year. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out March of next year as like anniversary. What would it be? 6 years then? We'll see. But no, I think I honestly do think like that's the only game that can really compete with Elden Ring for Game of the Year is Breath of the Wild 2 with journalists and stuff.
Ragnarok.
I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's a smart play to delay it.
And I'm not saying like I don't think God of War Ragnarok's going to be a good game or great game, because I think it is and it's my most anticipated. I'm just trying to think like who the critics are going to vote for. And it kind of falls in line with the Metacritic, like how many hundreds there are for Elden Ring. And I think God of War will probably review the same as the last one, or a bit lower potentially. So I just sort of feel like Elden Ring is going to win. I don't know. But there's the wild card. So you never know with Nintendo.
Yeah, you never. That's the thing. I don't know. If I were Nintendo, I know they're a wild card, but they need to change some things. We'll talk about that. I want to talk about it. But there's so much to talk about. Hoggy Channy, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And I know you've got Zelda playing. I'll go into that a little bit. So content over graphics. I wonder who said that. Game on source photo mode. Oh wait, decided to make game content instead of photo mode. Hoggy Chatty throwing shots at me and Colt. So me and Colt were playing with Hoggy. We were playing The Ascent. And
yeah.
If you haven't played The Ascent, very late in the game. I think the game is so good, man. Especially if you like the cyberpunk setting. It's such a good game. The gunplay is really good. It had some bugs, even though I've played it just 2-3 weeks ago. That's a long time since the game got released. But the game is such a looker. Me and you, Colt, were shocked because we'd go photo mode and you can go fly cam. The amount of detail in the game mode, it could be a first-person shooter or a third-person game. Like... How? What game engine is that? Is that an Unreal Engine? What is that game made of?
They have no business locking the camera to an isometric view, and the rest of that game looks so amazing. Asa and I played The Ascent at launch quite a bit, and I was picking his brain about, hey, Asa, do you think they've actually modeled things on the other side of that pillar and that wall?
Yeah.
Because the game is locked into one isometric perspective and you can't rotate the camera. And he's like, Asa was like, right, what you said, you were guessing that it's probably just a black or a gray polygon or something, right?
Yeah.
Speak up, Asa, about remember how we were I was trying to pick your brain about how that works.
Yeah, certain areas that you're never going to see, they're not going to put any attention to the detail level on there. It would be a waste of rendering resources. So
And so it's funny because you and I were talked about that for like an hour while we were admiring how great the game looks. And now they've added a photo mode where you can fly the camera anywhere. You turn around and that wall that you'll never see because of a locked camera is actually textured, and there are stuff on the shelves or whatever.
It's like mad.
Nuts.
Matt,
That's funny though, because they must have specifically added that, because when the game was new, people modded it to give you a first-person mode, and there were loads of like, don't look in that direction bits.
Yeah, there are empty spaces out in areas, but like you can zoom into buildings and it's crazy. Yeah, they went nuts. Maybe they weren't being very efficient, but it's beautiful. I actually have a montage I edited together. I wish I could share on here, but it's amazing.
What's sad about that to me though is I played the Ascent twice over the last couple of weeks. I was playing it with Chris Grinnell, and we were playing co-op, and every time he tried to buy or sell something in a shop, the game would crash for everyone. So you've added a photo mode, but the game keeps crashing. So that's
it still has problems because we were
it still has
playing
problems though.
Yeah.
We had problems, sound bugs that were really annoying, and things didn't work. So that needs to be fixed. But it's a really good game beneath it. They should have delayed it. Jay the Herb, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He goes, do you think Atomic Heart was still released in the West considering the sanctions on Russia? Also, is it too late to delay Halo? Asa, what do you think?
Not anytime soon, no. It won't. Which is unfortunate. It looked like a really good game, but
it really
it is like it is a Russian studio, isn't it? So sanctions will apply.
It's screwed.
Wasn't it coming like this spring or summer, Rand?
There was supposed to be coming either September, October, November, or December, because they said coming, and then it was like Ember, like XXXXX Ember
okay.
at the end.
You're
And
right.
so it could be like any of the months after August. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to, the Ukraine situation is very sad right now. So I don't know.
Mick, did the music? Is that the guy that did the Doom stuff? Doom music?
Mick Gordon? Yeah, he did the Doom stuff.
Jeez.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Lots of good games. Obviously, there's more pressing things there involved, but really the games as well. Like, I mean, even for the game dev side, they're caught up in politics. It's sad to see. Like, if Chelsea can't escape and Roman Abramovich can't escape it, I don't think Atomic Heart stands a chance.
Well, hasn't PlayStation just PlayStation has just halted, as well as I think Xbox halted and Microsoft halted all sales in Russia? Like, haven't they kind of chopped out that ecosystem right now? I don't follow like the politics stuff, but yeah. The super chats are ridiculous. Chat, you are crazy. Dead Planet, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Have any of you had an actual person from inside Xbox respond to a video where you were critical of Xbox and gave you peace of mind over a concern? Say that again.
Has anyone from Xbox, like officially, he's Dead Planet's asking, has it, well, not to us, but to reach out to you gents, because I know you guys talk to people. I'm not allowed to say that, but you do talk. You have connections, you have people you know with Xbox, you talk daily, and Dead Planet's asking, has anyone ever reached out to you when you were critical about something about Xbox or a game to give you peace of mind?
Rand has a notorious one from like 4 years ago or 3 years ago. Which you probably won't bring up, but I mean, I've talked about the performance, disparity going on with the Series X and the S against the PS5, and I've reached out and heard back from the people in charge of the console performance, and kind of got some roundabout answers and some things are still in the works, and
what did they say?
They're definitely listening. And when people, like, when all of the community says things like, this is not right, when they say it with some amount of respect, like, this isn't right, you can't double the price of Xbox Live. Xbox is listening, the community managers it's all going down, and it's happening, like, they're listening, right? But when somebody like Rand, who has a big following, says, this isn't right, you can't double the price of Xbox Live, or you shouldn't have a paywall for free to play. that definitely gets heard. And Rand's name is probably maybe my name, maybe Dealer's name. I don't know. Those are definitely heard. I don't know how do you explain that, Rand?
I mean, the people at Xbox pay attention to what's going on. They may not necessarily reach out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But they're always aware of the criticisms that people have. So like the whole talk about this Xbox Direct that people have been going on, that like Jazz has written articles about and stuff like that. Like I'm sure Xbox is keenly aware of what people are suggesting, and because they're very plugged in with the community. So I'm sure they're also, like they've removed sharing to Twitter on the game clips from Xbox DVR in some of the insider rings, and I'm sure they're fully aware of it, and they haven't said anything, which means it's probably not a bug. It's probably not like a mistake. It's probably something that they have to do or in preparation for something they are doing. But I'm sure that they know like that people are like, oh, this is kind of wrong, and they're probably waiting at some point before they talk about why they're doing it or why they had to do it or what's replacing it and stuff. So yeah, like I've never had anybody specifically talk to me who was involved with Inside Xbox. I have talked to Phil about Inside Xbox when it was going on. I did give him feedback about it. But I've never had somebody like from Inside Xbox reach out to me about any of my criticisms. But I've had people from Xbox, when I've criticized them, sometimes they will like say, well, can you explain a little bit more? Or we go into a conversation and stuff. But they're keenly aware about what's going on with everything. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. Good question. Hoggy Chatty, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Damn it, man. I'm a doctor, not a gamer. Dr. Pony quote is such a... Oh, Hoggy needs to get involved in this source. SM, thank you so much for the £10 super chat. It goes, shout out to everyone. Shout out to you. And then another £2 super chat where he says, DM me if you suffer from hair loss. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for the super chats. I think I've caught them all up. So what, based on... Oh, actually, before we go into this, there's so much to... From saying there's not much to talk about, there's quite a lot here, and I'm going to speed through these things. Microsoft was Metacritic's highest rated publisher in 2021. Xbox has no games, Xbox has no quality, blah 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 blah. But what's interesting beyond the console warring is also the fact that Microsoft, since they've ever started, Metacritic's been started publishing. According to Metacritic, I'm reading out Video Game Chronicles article here. This marks the first time a publisher has ever averaged over 85 Metascore in a year since its annual ranking started 12 years ago, and Sony had to settle for second place there. But that's quite impressive, no, Colt? Because Xbox... From having no games to winning Publisher of the Year, and it's winning it because of the acquisitions have obviously strengthened. They all fall under the Xbox Microsoft banner, but they haven't even started working on their games, like the big ones. Let's be honest. The source is about to come.
This is a really crazy timed announcement that Xbox is at the top with the best games historically, never over 85, so it's an 87.1 or whatever. It's a really tough time because the announcement comes.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Dealer. Dealer obviously wanted super chat XBOX, but he ran out of money when he typed in B.
His next one's going to be A. It's not going to be O. Watch. Just watch.
Well, he messed that up.
So,
shout out to you, Dealer. Man.
Yeah. Dang it. We have a joke spelling Xbox AB or XBAWKS or whatever. Xbox. So this comes at a point where Xbox killed it in 2021, but it's right smack dab in the middle of a bone dry Sahara parched lips exclusive window for Xbox. But not only that, people are really upset looking forward. They're a little leery about Redfall. They're hoping it's going to be really good. They know Starfield's going to be amazing, but they've seen nothing. We just put a W.
I'm just saying that I'm waiting for the X to come. They just puts a W. That just messes me
Now
up.
he's going to write Xbox. He's going to have some fun with it. I can't wait till his debit card bounces. But anyway, he's hilarious. Yeah, people are a little worried about, like, Rand, we've talked about this. 2022 is like looking a little rough.
Yeah, but this isn't about 2022, Coast. It's about 2021.
Yeah.
But everyone flips it and moves the goalpost to say you got nothing in 2022. Shredders looks cool, but I mean, yeah, right.
Shredders?
Stalker's not coming in. Shredders is the indie snowboarding game, and then Tunic is coming, which is like a Dark Souls, Death's Door type thing, right? And then Warhammer Darktide looks really great, but it's like nowhere to be found. Dealer spelling. We need to work on dealer spelling. Rand, can I give you the microphone on this one? Because this is a amazing 2021.
What do you want me to say? I mean, Microsoft killed it last year. We talked about it previously when last year was going on. Like the fact that Phil took the stage at the Game Awards in 2019 after Microsoft put out Colt's favorite game, Crackdown 3, and I think Phil was like, "Yeah, this wasn't our best year."
Right.
Yeah, we could do better. And then a couple years later, they had an incredible year. Like you're talking 87 average, number one. It's a big turnaround from when Dealer Gaming's putting Sea of Thieves thumbnail out there with the 60 Metacritic inside the cannonball that's being shot, right? Because that was kind of the whole joke. Then was, hey, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, all these other games that are like 60 meta, right? And here you have Halo returning to its glory, although it's kind of stumbling with its live service aspect right now. Forza Horizon 5 being the pinnacle of the racing, genre, essentially. Flight Sim dominating with, what it was doing. Psychonauts 2 being Game of the Year contender. And then, you don't even add in Deathloop because that was and Bethesda was number 4 and Activision was number 5, which they now own. So, yeah, this year, we all know, Microsoft has a problem with backloading their schedule a lot of the time, which is something they need to get away from. But Starfield, Redfall, Forza Motorsport 8, and maybe a couple other things towards the end of the year, or maybe closer to summer. It'll be a good year, especially if Starfield's like what we think it could be. The next game from Todd Howard, last game Skyrim. And
let me ask you this, Rand. Crossfire X is going to really hurt their chances of a repeat competition for Metacritic score, right? But Redfall from Arcane should get a decently good score. Starfield should get a really good score. Forza Motorsport 8 or Forza Motorsport will get a pretty good score. It should get close to what GT7 gets. Like, is it going to be that far off in 2022, even though some people may look forward and say it looks a little dry for Xbox?
It depends on what else they release. What are they going up against as far as Sony's publishers versus Microsoft publishers?
PlayStation has Horizon Forbidden West in 88. They have Gran Turismo in 88 or 87. I think it's 88 again. They have maybe God of War Ragnarok, which would be an 88 or 90.
That'll be
92,
90s
93.
90 for sure.
It's gonna be tough. I give it Sony maybe this year because this year's a little bit
like Forspoken is not going to be counted in the PlayStation Metacritic. It's a Square Enix game. It's not published by PlayStation, right?
No, it's a Square Enix game. But then again, it's weird because Crossfire X is not an Xbox game, but it falls under Xbox Game Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big red 40, which is hard to come back from. but Babylon's Fall, which is a big red 40, is under Square Enix. So I don't know how Metacritic really, divides up all that stuff, or why Crossfire X is under it. But I mean, it should be a pretty good. I think Starfield's going to be really good. So yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you that like they needed some time to turn Xbox around, and they're on the path, and I think they turned it around quicker than people thought. I mean, I don't think anybody thought like 2021 Microsoft would be the publisher that had the highest rated games, because that was the problem people had with Xbox, was that they didn't put out quality games, and everybody used Metacritic as like the bastion or the beacon of quality games, right? Like the Metacritic score. So that they finally did, it's like, okay, well, because it's like, hey, Game Pass fodder this and Game Pass fodder that and blah 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 blah. But it's like, well, if you're using the scores to pump up your exclusives, then you kind of got to use the same. So it's like, hey, they turned it around this year. Might be similar. Just gonna take. I mean, this year seems to be very similar, because it's like, once again, there's no games for the first 9 months of the year. Again,
yeah.
So
but they also last year, if you don't even use Metacritic, they had the most nominations, and they had more awards. Xbox did than PlayStation by their studios. And then like people, when I was sharing the Metacritic thing, the guys on like social media, the first thing they did was turned around and slapped you with "no game of the year," and I totally forgot that Halo Infinite won user score reviewed game of the year. I totally forgot about that, which is like the real voice, right? Yeah.
Arguably, I mean, it won that before anyone had played it, so I'm not sure that's the real voice. But
I mean, people have played the multiplayer, so that's all they needed, Asa.
Yeah, I'm not sure sentiment's so positive anymore, though. But
well, that was the thing. If the multiplayer had been out for 6 months, maybe people would feel different. But it was basically brand fresh new. So people, do you recall when Halo's multiplayer first came out? People were loving it. So I'm not.
People were in love with the flighting. Remember how the flighting people were just? Yeah. It had a great launch.
It was only 3 to 4 months later, when there's no new content and 343 is being quiet, that people were suddenly like, wait a minute. I'm bored of these maps. I'm bored of these maps, and I want to know what's coming. And so I'm not surprised.
Can I ask you, Rand, live on this show? Hey, can you guys hit the like button if you're having a good time? If you think Rand is sexy, Asa is amazing, and Gaz is my friend, hit the like button. Like these guys are doing a good job on the show.
Then,
Can I ask you, Rand? I talked about this on my show last week about the leadership of 343. Can you give us your opinion of what you think is going on, or what you think needs to happen? Because the fans want results now.
Yeah, fans always want results now. I think there was clearly a leadership problem with the game at some point. Clearly, I don't think they were. I think COVID also really affected the development of the game, for sure. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see a year from now, because when I look at most live service games, the first season, second season are always not good, right? Sea of Thieves first couple seasons weren't good. Same thing with like Apex Legends and all the other live service titles. It wasn't until later that they became good. So
what about PUBG?
I mean, PUBG really didn't start off as a live service game until late. Way later.
Because you played it like in Force. When did it really become? It started
to become like seasonal towards where we started like falling out of it. But I think my point is, like, if a year from now they still have problems and like season 4 and 5 are not good, then maybe there is an issue with the leadership there. Maybe there currently is. I don't know. We don't know. We need to find out more what happened with the development of Halo Infinite. Clearly there was problems. They've had a lot of turnover, so it's crazy when you play something like Elden Ring and it has this gigantic open world that's like massive, and then you play like Halo Infinite, and it's just like a small world with like, you know, just alpine trees in Seattle. It's just like, okay.
And it's like one of the biggest studios, and it's the biggest, highest paid studio for Xbox, and they're delivering a very small amount of content. And, you know, people come at me for good reason, like for not calling out like this stuff, but oh my gosh, the heat Gaz and I have taken for talking about it on this show, my show, talking about it in tweets, bringing it up in videos about how, yeah, it's like, we know, like, I expect the best. Like 343 should be putting out the top tier content from Xbox Game Studios, and it's one of the biggest franchises in all of gaming. And it sort of looks like when it came out, they had this amazing launch, but after that, there's kind of like, yeah, it was good enough. I don't want good enough.
Yeah, they're not for that title, but I've said so much on it. Notice I haven't said anything, despite the fact that I still want to laser them. But yes,
Read Dealer's tweet.
Send Bonnie Ross to the gulag. Dealer is slipping on the sauce right there. And Dealer also said, Xbox has no games. All in alternate caps. Thank you for the super chats, Dealer. Have you been sipping on the sauce? But Bonnie, like, it's not nice to say that someone should get rid of someone, but they should get rid of someone. And I think vicariously Bonnie Ross, you have to understand how Bonnie Ross got involved. She put a pitch to Microsoft that Xbox or the heads didn't think that there was much life in Halo, believe it or not, in the franchise. But Bonnie Ross made a pitch for, like, look, we can extend this carry it forward. And really, ultimately, what happened is, I think, with this game, whilst monetarily they may have succeeded, perhaps, and maybe justified the thing as far as the vision of the game and the failures. There's so many failures. Master Chief Collection not working, Halo 4's multiplayer, Halo 5's single player, Halo Infinite's almost everything, whilst there are successes there, make it a failure. I just feel, in my opinion, for a lot of people, that's a failure is a strong word. I think it's Halo Infinite's failed. But we've talked about that ad nauseum. But thank you so much for the super chat. The Dealer getting saucy. I think Xbox guys don't call things out. PlayStation has to learn
He said
from
he has to help pay your water bill by sending the super chats in.
Thank you. The lights can stay on for another day or two. Rockers SMB, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Shout out to my favorite content creators and Gaz's dad, Dealer Gaming. How do you think I inherited the sauce? Hi, Daddy. Hoggy Chatty, thank you. That sounded weird. Hoggy Chatty, thank you so much for... That sounded weird. For the $5 super chat, it goes, Xbox has no games. Media's bought Metacritic. How that, by the way, has turned around. Xbox can't deal with facts. I will show you by making a video doing search. He's still quoting Shavira. Oh, God. Hoggy. Come on, man. Keep doing it. George Gassi, thank you so much for the $5 Australian. He goes, finally caught you guys live. Keep up the good work, boys. I know it's very early there in Australia, so thank you for tuning in there. Yeah, so that's... Believe it or not, I'm on topic number 2, and we're like literally in for so long. But it's just natural, good conversations, because that's what happens when we talk to friends. But this one is concerning. And again, I caught some flack for this, for doing it. Dealer, I want to get your thoughts on this as well. I know you're in chat. Perfect Dark loses its game director, and I was annoyed with the fact that Drew Murray had announced his departure, but now Dan Neuberger has left, according to Clobro, who was sleuthing and checking LinkedIn, I think.
Yeah, LinkedIn every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, looking for comings and goings. Yeah,
yeah, and he was just like, and he saw that he had Dan Neuberger is looking for other positions, and he's worked at the initiative for nearly 4 years and was previously the game director for Tomb Raider series. Is this doom and gloom? I remember initially when the first time it broke with Drew Murray, a lot of people concerned. I still maintain that's not cool for the guy to leave. That guy is a senior post. Dan Neuberger is also a director there, and he's leaving. And some people automatically jump the gun. Oh, well, that's fine. He's ready to move because this thing is done. But when that first time happened, it was Rand who tried to, I think he spoke to you, Cole, and then you came back to me and said, look, no, Rand's making sense. This is what the initiative are. This is what they're poised to do.
About what, Drew Murray?
No,
Drew
about when
Murray-
the initiative or when the Crystal Dynamics stepped in. Like a lot of people got really mad, and I got on the phone with you, and you were like, "Colt, this is how it is." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, duh."
Exactly. And so on the back of that, Rand, with the fact that Initiative are this setup designed to be propped by Crystal Dynamics, who are apparently the workhorses who are going to deliver the grunt work for this game. How do you reconcile that with Dan Neuberger leaving, a game director like that? Do you think it's still nothing to worry about, par for the course, or are you concerned?
I don't know. I'd have to see the gameplay of the game first before I can determine whether or not to be this is good, bad, in between. I mean, I guess it could be construed as bad as the game director leaves, but I don't know any of the significance behind it. Is his work done and he's just looking for something else? Like, what even is the Initiative, right? Like, is Initiative going to be a studio that kickstarts new projects and then hands them off? Because I theorized at one point that the Initiative, like what they are is in their name. Their Initiative. They initiate new concepts, and then they hire everything. They have a small team, because remember the Initiative said they're going to stay small and agile. Yeah, and I think they only ever got up to as high as like 70 employees, right? And you do all the, the concept, you do all the prototypes and the pre-production stuff. And so I theorized that potentially the Initiative might be a studio with like 60 to 70 people that would create a concept from, a prototype to, pre-production, and then hand that off to essentially a bigger AAA studio like Crystal Dynamics to figure out, to essentially have them create everything else for Perfect Dark, and then the Initiative would go on to make another project and to hand it off. So if that's what they are, then I'm not really surprised by a game director who wanted to work on Perfect Dark leaving when his role in the game is over. But then again, like, that's just me speculating on what the Initiative could be, and if that's the case, then okay, maybe that makes sense. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people will doom and gloom it because that's what people do. We did see Chris Lee leave Halo Infinite, and Joseph Staten joined. And, even though Halo Infinite reviewed very well, people still have some issues with the campaign. I know you do. I know I have some issues towards the end. But for the most part, it came out well enough. I mean, I know people complain now, and it seems like the live service of that game is kind of dragging the game down a little bit at this point. But this could just be typical industry turnover. People leave jobs and go elsewhere all the time. I just don't really have enough information to conclusively say either way. I guess it's just like, I guess we'll find out whenever they show off Tomb Raider and wherever we play it. And if it's a dumpster fire, then we'll know. And if it's really good, then it was like, okay, well, his job must have been finished and he was looking for something else. So we'll wait and see. Let's
look at it like logically from, take a step back. When Rand said Tomb Raider, he meant Perfect Dark, of course. Dan Neuberger is the one that worked alongside Daryl Gallagher for almost a decade, rebooting the Tomb Raider franchise for that release in 2013, and then Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then they moved on to work on the Avengers. So this guy is critical and a pinnacle part of the reboot of Joanna Dark in the modern era. And so as far as what we know, a year before Drew Murray left, who was a creative director, they had built the framework. They had a playable build of the game that Phil Spencer put hands on in 2020 maybe, Rand. That picture of Phil standing next to Drew Murray, and he's got a controller and he's playing a build of the game. So we know that at least the framework and a playable build of the game that hasn't been beautified and refined and robustly created, right? We don't know about that part yet. That's on Crystal Dynamics, like Rand said. But Dan is a person there who's there to realize the vision of rebooting Joanna Dark in a modern era 20 years later. He should be there until it's over. So something tells me, far apart from the doom and gloom, something tells me that something came up that looked way better to Dan that he left in the middle of a project. Because if Perfect Dark is coming out in a year and a half or 2 years, which I think it's coming out in about 18 to 24 months from now, and Rand will probably agree with me, that Dan should really be there until they get ready to go gold, and then he could say, all right, I've done my thing, it's polishing and patch time, they got it. I wanted to move on and do something else.
Agree. I think the director should stay until the game goes gold. I find
he doesn't have
weird.
to, but if he finds something there where he wants to go in mid-project, like Rod Ferguson left after they launched Gears 5, and maybe he's like, okay, Gears 5's done. They're working on this Hivebusters DLC. They're working on all the service stuff for multiplayer. He's like, they're in good hands. I'm happy with what I've done. I want to move on and do something different, and I'm going to take the call for Blizzard, right? But Rand, doesn't this also happen a lot?
I mean, Rod Ferguson was the studio head. He wasn't a game director.
Right. But doesn't this happen a lot where someone, high up in a studio leaves and we don't hear about it? We only hear about it with the Xbox games. Fix my bias.
People leave jobs in the industry all the time. Like I said, could be like he got an offer that he couldn't refuse. Like somebody came in with a better, offer money wise, and was just like, all right, well, I'm gone. Or he could have been looking for something
Where's
new.
the non-compete clause though? Like he worked for 4 years? Maybe it was only 2 years.
I mean, he was there
Maybe
for
4 years.
he was there for almost 4.
Mm-hmm.
So he was there for almost like from the very beginning. Maybe he was just done with what he had to do, and he was just like, all right, I'm out. I don't know.
It kind of fits in line with what the initiative, like you said, are like they're the initiative. They do the design concept and then they palm it off Acer. What do you think about that?
I'm saying if I'm right about that, which I don't know if I
there's
am,
a lot of speculation here. I understand. Positive or negative, we have to have the discussions. People in chat are like, it's all doom and gloom, but if we're not going to speculate and we're just going to be sipping happy sauce, we might as well just snort MDMA and just talk about every random topic here. But we have to talk it through.
Which we could do.
We could do, but this isn't a PlayStation podcast. This is...
Yes! You were going to ask Asa something. You were leading
Asa,
up.
what do you think about this leaving? You're quite confident in Perfect Dark because you love Crystal Dynamics. You think it's all good.
I wouldn't say I'm confident in Perfect Dark because I don't like stealth games. I'm confident that the end product will be quality because, Crystal Dynamics deliver quality, whatever you think of Marvel's Avengers. They know what they're doing. I think in this case, like Rand says, if you get an opportunity, you go to another job. If someone DMs me now with an opportunity, I'm off the show halfway through. Like, see you later. It can happen. Please, anyone? No, that's not going to happen. Okay. It's worth an ask. I think this guy left Crystal Dynamics because someone was messing with his gluten-free sandwiches. They followed him over to the new studio, started messing with his sandwiches again. He's gone.
We don't know. There's a lot of speculation there. Someone in chat says, why doesn't no one share when people get hired? It's always negative. No, it wasn't. The initiative they do. They had so many articles of so many talented studios. Remember from Studio Santa Monica, you had someone from Naughty Dog even from joining
Rockstar,
the initiative.
Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, Activision, where else? Rand, like the initiative is full of some of the industry leaders. This also kind of bleeds into a conversation about Playground Games, who's working on Fable, which should come out in 2 years or something. I don't know, but they just announced a listing of 15 senior positions being hired, and I was kind of digging into this, and it kind of worried me. I'm like, why are you hiring senior? Because it makes me think they're hiring a manager who's going to manage a big team of animators, a big team of sound design people, right? And I was looking into this because Everwild just hired a new employee. So Special Nick from Xbox Air is like, oh, thank goodness they're still working on the game. Of course they are. But when you see these hires for senior level positions, they just mean an expert in the field. So they hire a senior animation designer. It's someone who has a 4-year degree and 5 years experience of animation at other studios, and they're in that position where they're going to do a lot of high level work alongside a dozen other animators. And I fall into the prey of seeing like this listing of job listings over and over for Playground's Fable game and thinking, are you not working on this game? And then I've kind of learned that they are hiring people who do a lot of the strong work among a team. So that's kind of what's going on. And people get freaked out when someone leaves.
Yeah, I think since COVID has ended ASAP, we need to start doing some interviews and stuff. Things are starting to lighten up, hopefully in a couple of months. And we will do that for you. We've been dying to get out there and see people. And Gamescom, that's a live event, in-person event. It's a big event as well. Big numbers there. So we'll share details on that. Come to Germany, people. Big topic of this topic for the show is in the title. We haven't got to. We've got about half an hour, so I'm just gonna go through this. State of play impressions. Now, I'm gonna have to drop some sauce. In the run up to it, I didn't say anything. We've had so many state of plays that have been so limp-wristed that you'd think like, you'd learn by now, but people still keep hyping it up, like, and they have such insane expectations. And if you listen to some personalities and all the hype they built up, and I get it, it comes from a place of being excited, you want it to be good, but then they were talking about all sorts of stuff. But if you'd listen to them, then Konami was going to be bought, the Metal Gear Solid was going to be on PlayStation, then you were going to have SOCOM was going to come back, and even bloody Siphon Filter. But State of Play happened, and Jeff Keighley did a poll. This must have killed Jeff Keighley. The results of the poll were, he said, how would you rate it? A, B, C, and D. And I think the vast majority of people gave it a D. But I don't know. Some people like these. State of play impressions.
Yes!
We're going to quickly just go through the games. Let's just talk about some of these games. Is it really that bad? It's quite interesting to see that it's the kind of games they're veering towards a lot of multiplayer as well. So Deathverse is one good game, and I saw that and I was just like immediately, right. So when Sony said they're gonna have 10 live service games, they're really this. I don't know if this is a live service game, but this game quite finally reminded me of what's that game Ninja Theory made that was Bleeding Edge. Yeah, Deathverse, it's a multiplayer survival action game, so it's not like that, but it kind of visually looked the same. Have you seen the trailer for it? What did you think about Deathverse, Cole? Do you think it's shit? Do you think it's good? No, you haven't seen it. You don't go. Deathverse. This is on the screen right now, and it looks okay. It's like this is the new PlayStation, everyone. The PlayStation where
this
you're
is
gonna get
exclusive
games like
for PlayStation?
I think so, or timed.
And it really?
Yeah. And Destroyer, doesn't this look like Bleeding Edge, everyone? This
Yeah, it looks like a steampunk Bleeding Edge, doesn't it? Randall Thor 19, Man with a Million? It looks like Returnal and Atomic Heart and interesting. Very interesting.
John Favreau. So there's that.
It also looks like Destruction All Stars without the cars and a couple. What the weird?
So basically,
hey, you know what? Like good, like
a bit like Gran Turismo with no cars as well. Pretty sure.
Right, it does. Like good, make something different. Like this doesn't look like I don't know.
Donataku is literally super chat. He says, "Gaz, you picked the wrong state of play." Have I?
Yes,
They're so
I think you
fucking.
have.
I've picked a list here of games. That's how bad it was. So tell me.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? The state of play was like 4 days ago.
This is so bad that I picked the wrong state of play.
Let me help you guys. Gaz gets like 2 hours of sleep every night because of the sauce and his work, and to help him and Asa running these shows for you. So
I've slept 4 hours in 2 days.
What's really weird about this is before the show started,
of games.
Before the show started, Gaz actually said, we're going to talk about state of play, and he sent me. Gaz is really disorganized. This never ever happens, and obviously I already knew exactly what we were looking at. But he sent me a link to the PlayStation blog where they've got all of the stuff from the state of play that happened a couple of days ago. And it was the correct one. And then he said, "Oh, let's talk about this game." And I'm like, "What?"
Oh, you do have the right list.
Oh yeah,
Gaz had the right list. He sent me the right list.
I sent you the right list. I don't know where I got this from. I'm an idiot. And my list is so weird. If you saw how stupid I've mixed the old one with the new. Don't ask me how, because I had to list these games. My ADHD is really bad.
Let's do Exoprimal.
Exoprimal looks kind of cool. Talk to me about it, Asa.
It wants me to enter my date of birth before I can bring up the trailer. Exoprimal looks like Anthem with weird dinosaur portals. It's a bit of a mess. I don't understand. And it's made by Capcom, and then the trailer's going to come up, and everyone will see what Exoprimal is.
Yeah, I am high on the source. While that's coming up, I will read that super chat. Dead Planet, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Obsidian is running laps. I need sleep. It is running laps around the rest of Xbox Game Studios. Why? Obsidian? How? Why?
Grounded.
It's not running. How? Grounded? It's not running laps.
It's something.
But in a cult,
most of the studios haven't.
What?
Yeah,
Ground is running what?
No, I think Obsidian are like Xbox's champion studio at the moment.
Oh yeah. They're really good. Yeah, I mean they're working
champions,
on.
Dude.
They're working on like 2 big games, 2 small games, and they already probably want them to make another Fallout. So I mean that we would hope. So yeah, they're super busy.
Yeah. Okay, well, fair enough. Okay, so the good games, I've got the right list now. I mean, there's a shit state of play, man. Okay, Forspoken looks good. No? Guys?
Does it look better?
Yes.
I didn't look at the new trailer.
Talk about the dinosaur game first. Come on now.
Oh, the dinosaur game. Look, the dinosaur game looks like I mean, this could be fun.
Is that Miley Cyrus?
It's not Miley Cyrus. What are you talking about? I mean,
this
it
is
looks
the
better
Dino
than
Crisis,
Second Extinction.
Head fake. Yeah.
It looks like Anthem mixed with dinosaur. It actually visually looks really nice, actually. Whoa. Okay, I didn't see that. That character designs are wicked. It just annoys me that it's like dinosaur seems a little bit gimmicky. We had Second Extinction, and then that bloody Zorka was like, it's such a good game. Zorka, you have such taste in games. You with your gamer scores so high because of games you play like Barbie. But no, I'm just kidding.
I want to hear Rand go off and add to that, please. Please.
Go on, Rand.
No.
It actually looks nice. Nah. What do you think of this game, Rand?
I don't really have I didn't watch the state of play, so unfortunately I don't really have an opinion. No, I don't have the YouTube thing up.
How dare you? Just because you haven't got camera doesn't mean you don't get to look our faces. Well, you can actually on this internet.
I mean,
he couldn't even see when I was dancing for him. I'm sad.
Nope. I'm sorry. So when it comes to state of play, I really don't have an opinion because I really don't care about state of plays. So I usually just check the announcements afterwards. I will say it's funny to see pretend insiders try to tell you what's going to be at the show, like a Bloodborne remastered or a Resident Evil 4 exclusive or Street Fighter 6 or
God of War Ragnarok release date.
A plethora of all this other nonsense that they say are going to be there, and then people get their expectations out of whack, and people end up being disappointed. Like, look, it was a 20-minute show, and they said it was mostly focused on Japanese stuff. I don't know why people were like, that means they're going to announce Metal Gear, and they're going to acquire Konami, and all this stupid nonsense. It's like, listen, the people who know PlayStation information, they're not sharing them online for clout. Like, they keep to themselves. Everybody, the people that are doing that they're just trying to get a following and retweets and likes off of gullible people, out there. So, I don't know. Like state of plays serve a purpose, but the general audience is never going to like them, as evidenced by Jeff Keighley's poll, because the general audience that tunes in for these things want big AAA announcements. They don't want to see Square Enix put out a tactics RPG and stuff like that. That's not why people tune into these things. So I'm not surprised people didn't like it, because people don't like most of these things. People, every time someone puts on an event, they think they want it to be an E3 style big event, but they just aren't. You can't really have a 20-minute show is not going to be on the level of an hour and a half E3 thing. So I don't know. Like, the best announcement from the show was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And co-op for Returnal, I think was pretty damn cool. But yeah, those are my thoughts on a state of play I didn't even bother watching because I just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the fact that Returnal actually has co-op before Halo is kind of quite funny. There was memes being Colt, don't give me that look. It was.
Well, to be fair, Halo has until what is it? Almost it's 11 or 12 months later. Returnal gets co-op, and Halo will have it in 8 or 9 months from release.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is Returnal never promised it. Housemarque never promised it. They just dropped it like it's coming right now with this update, which is really super cool. So as a fan of that game, like, you have to be super happy. And when I saw it, I'm like, oh, because I suck at that game. I'm terrible. I called Rand. I'm like, dude, I've died like 6 times trying to get to the first boss. Rand's like, I didn't die till I rolled the credits. No, but maybe Rand will play that with me, or you and I can play it.
I want to play with you. I love this game.
I would love to get some guidance on, like, because I'm not understanding some of the mechanics, and I didn't give it the attention. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I really like this game. Obviously, comparing it to Halo is a bit silly because Halo's scope for co-op is obviously wholly different. This is very restricted in game design. Of course, it's not a massive feat, but still good. And it's just an extra feature. It's like Ghosts of Tsushima's like multiplayer mode. Asa, have you actually even completed this game yet?
No, do you know what? When it came out and we talked about it, I said it's really hard to enjoy the structure of it next to Hades. And I hoped that they'd take it away and 3 months later they'd rework some things and it would feel a little bit more rewarding to play.
Yeah.
I like the game. It looks nice. I like the action feels good. But I was holding off, waiting for a little rework. And if that's not going to come, then I might have to get back to it. And just persevere.
I don't think it's coming.
The grind.
It's so difficult for me. Like, it looks so amazing, and I wish I could just rip through the enemies, but as it stood when I was first playing, I was like really sucked. Sometimes like, a bunch of bats would just stomp me. I'm like, no, and I'd go all the way back to the beginning with the pistol. I'm like,
your face is hilarious. I need to make memes of that. I mean, I'm really excited to play it. I've finished it and I will play it. I didn't do the secret ending level, so there's another level in there. I just think it's a gem, but it's not for everyone. But me and you, we should definitely get into that and play that. Smoke SHO, thank you for the $2 Canadian. Sony bought Kojima's last state of play, right, MBG? Sauce. Messy chat. Hoggy Chatty, thank you for the $5 super chat. Most interesting part of State of Play was a game being marketed by Sony that is day and date on Xbox Game Pass. He's talking about Death's Door, or was he talking about something else?
No,
What's he talking about?
Yomi,
no, that was
whatever
not
it's
day
called.
and date. What was it?
Trek to Yomi.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, it's a multi-plat. It's coming to Game Pass. Wow. At launch, right, Rand?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I have not seen that. Can you bring that one up? Ace has got the magic show fingers. He's amazing.
Oh, wow. What the hell? This looks sick. This coming day and day on Game Pass?
If only you'd watched the right State of Play, guys.
I know. This week has been mad. People don't know. I've been sleeping hardly anything. The Source video killed me.
I've really been off my game this past week or so when it comes to the gaming news stuff because
it's been pretty dead anyway.
Yeah, it's been really weird. So like to dig into like all of the details, it's been kind of tough.
I mean, this looks good, but I was just I want to play Sifu. It kind of reminds me I don't need to complete that game.
This is all side scroller and gameplay. Do you know much about this Trek to Yami game? Randall Thor 19.
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it looks like a samurai movie in black and white.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the stylized gameplay for it. But yeah, this is it's different. Yeah, it looks really nice. I like these kind of games are wicked. It's not there's shifting perspectives and stuff. A game that's coming out this month also a Xbox first-party game coming exclusively to PlayStation. Weird turn of events. Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh,
State
right.
of play gameplay. I did see the trailer of that, and am I the only one who remembers that? What was that beatdown? What was that game on Xbox where you had first-person melee thing and you had electric hands chat? You know what I'm talking about. Beatdown, breakdown, breakdown. That's it. That was
Breakdown.
Breakdown was a great game, but this obviously is kind of like that's first.
But I think that was an Xbox exclusive, but I don't think it was by first part. I think that was a Bandai Namco game.
No, I'm just saying this game reminds me of that. Ghostwire Tokyo looks really good. This launch trailer, it's really good. And I was kind of thinking, like, Tango Gameworks, right?
Yes.
That's quite a good get for Xbox that needs to make some inroads into Japan. And State of Play, if I'm assuming I've got the right State of Play, Square Enix had a very heavy presence at State of Play. This is off the back of the time where people were talking about, just murmurs about Square Enix getting bed with Sony, possible acquisition by PlayStation of Square Enix. Other people saying, what's the point? They're already pretty much exclusive, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, generally, the takeaway from that is State of Play was shit. No, Ghostwire Tokyo is good. You're not going to get the big games, E3 type event. But Randall Thor 19, the man with a million, what do you think? When do you think PlayStation is going to get that big show that people are actually yearning for?
I don't know. PlayStation has kind of shied away from doing stuff in the summer, and I think both of their showcases, which are the bigger ones, have been roughly in September. I think in 2020, I think they did that big show in September, and I think last year they did a show in September. I could be mistaken, but that's what on the top of my head, that's what I think. I know Jeff Grubb has said recently that he knows of at least one publisher doing a show during the typical E3 timeframe, and shocker, it's Microsoft. Like we didn't, because I guess EA's not doing one, but I guess Microsoft is doing a show. Like, of course, Microsoft's going to be doing a show during their typical E3 timeframe. But that's the thing. Sony backed out of E3, I believe, in 2019, and they kind of do shows whenever it really suits them. Yeah. So they kind of have these little small state of plays interspersed throughout the year. Maybe they just have a state of play dedicated to a single game. Like they've done it for Horizon and Gran Turismo. They've done it for Ghostwire Tokyo. So who knows? I mean, maybe they feel, okay, we will have a big show in September. They'll keep to that. Maybe they do it at some point, at a different time. Who knows with Sony? I guess that's the big thing. It's like they'll just do it whenever they feel like it. The last 2 years, I believe, Colt, because they did two showcases in 2020. I'm trying to remember when the two were.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation. They did two. Yeah. They did one last year, and I think that was in September.
Yeah, they did in 2020. They did one that showed a bunch of games, and then the next one showed games and revealed the PS5. That was the first time we saw it, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. I'm just trying to remember the dates, though, like the months.
I mean, I would look at my channel, but yeah,
the Dead Channel, Cody Switch channel.
It's so funny because
I'll buy your YouTube channel for $1.
I'm sold. Yeah, it's so funny because I really get super mad. Except last night, I might have been a little angry, but I don't remember. But yeah, Xbox, PlayStation.
I mean, see, Donataku, thank you for the super chat. He says the biggest flop of State of Play was that 90% of the new games were multi-plat. They didn't really show anything that warranted a show. I think
they're a month apart, Rand. September. Yeah, I have a report.
They had a show in September and a show in October.
I have something at the end of September and the beginning of September. So I think that's what they did. Yeah. PlayStation 5's big event, and then the official price. Maybe that wasn't it. I don't know. Who cares? You know what? Just burn it all.
I just put it out. Yeah, so I mean, Donataku says the best thing about that show was everything was
they had a showcase in June 11th and then a showcase in September 12th.
There you go.
That's
in
2020.
Yeah.
And then I think they had just one last year, and that was in September. So
yeah. I think they need to have a big show. The problem is that, I don't think state of plays are a problem. I think that some of the community people, like you said, are a problem. Generally people are perceiving it as negative though, so should they keep doing it? But there's so many good games there. These games we can make fun of, like, it's not big AAA game, but it's almost like if Sony have shot themselves in the foot because they used to use that narrative to differentiate them rightly and wrongly against the competition. And now you breed what you sow, you reap what you sow. That's what
PlayStation doesn't need to have a few big events because they've been able to have releases either third party or exclusive throughout the year, or they have stuff at the beginning of the year and then they have something that they've money hatted for the end of the year. And Xbox has just gone, they have this last year and this next year, this coming year, where they're going to have a very dry 8 months out of the 12 months, which is not a good look. So what it does is it screams for the fans or content creators to say, where are the events? Where's the communication? Where is the marketing? Like, they paid money for Warhammer Darktide, a 4-player co-op online game, to come to Xbox, and there's nothing. They haven't talked about it again, and it's probably because the Warhammer team is not ready to. And so as the hardcore fans and the people who are speaking about it, who run shows or content, they don't have anything to work with because Xbox is super quiet. And it's a bad look. Rand and I've talked about this, like, they're hiring somebody to do more events. So they're probably looking at bringing back XO, so that it's quite possible we'll see an XO 2022 at in November or December of this coming year. They'll be at the Game Awards, the Keighley's Game Awards. They'll have the June event like they always do. So they possibly have 3 big events after the summer starts, but that doesn't help the communication and the trajectory of what we're looking at for the first chunk of the year, right, Rand?
Yeah, I mean, we've always said I think Xbox needed to do more shows when they have a lot more content in the pipeline. In 2023 and 2024, we're kind of like, how are you going to talk about all these games that are coming in the first half of the year when you only do one show? And it's like, you're going to have to do more shows. But clearly Inside Xbox was a failure when they did it because they didn't continue it. They had a lot of... They tried to have an hour-long show, but they didn't have a content to really do it. And it was like they had 20 minutes of content they stretched for an hour. So they put it on ice because they didn't need it because they really didn't have the content. Yeah. And now they kind of do. So it makes sense that they're at least hiring now for somebody who's going to put together the future of digital events and physical events when you actually are having content launch in February and March or April and May, when normally Xbox typically releases all their content at the end of the year. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me that they're searching for a proper candidate. Did you apply for that job, Cody Eastwood, by the way?
Yeah, I did.
Well, you should get it.
Cody Eastwood working at Xbox, putting together the shows.
Chat.
Yeah.
Chat.
I mean,
how
he should
sick
get
would
it,
it be if Cole should be community manager for it? Surely at this point with the high production, God, they need someone who's passionate about the brand. Then you could give me insider information. I could leak it, and then I could.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even need a resume. Like, there's people at Xbox who watch the content and know the content that I do and stuff. But I said a couple weeks ago, I'm like, Xbox should just reach out to their 30 or 40 plus projects that are being worked on. And I got so much flack for this. But I reach out to them and say, hey, who has something they're ready to show? Because we can put together a quick game showcase and just do a stream on the Xbox channel before E3 or something after E3. And people are like, they shouldn't force the developers to show stuff. It's like, you don't force developers. You reach out and say, hey, who has stuff's ready? And if one studio, like let's say the Contraband team is like, hey, we just recorded like 3 minutes of footage. that would be great to showcase. We can chip in. And so then they send in their footage. And I was like, hey, just send me all the footage and I'll build the video in like one day. I'll put it all together. I'll produce I'll do all the transitions. I'll produce a thing for you and just put this event out and say, hey, we're going to premiere this thing in, I guess they couldn't do it by May, but like try and do something by April and just say, look, here's some of the projects that are coming. But because I already have a good feeling that E3 in 2022, that's what year it is, right?
Yeah.
This E3 in June, I have a good feeling as my prediction that it's going to be heavy on Starfield, heavy on Redfall, heavy on Forza Motorsport, and then some other things. And all these other projects we've been hearing about that aren't ready are not even going to be talked about. And then the bigger games in the future that Rand and I are thinking coming out in 24, like Perfect Dark, Fable, won't even show up, possibly. Like, they need to supplement that. And people got mad when I said that, but you reach out, and if the studios are ready and willing, like say, hey, we'd love to show something. And sometimes it only needs to be a minute long. Like, hey, we can record, we have this one level like already polished up. We can record 1 minute of it and submit that with some voiceover from our creative director. Bang. And that's part of that video. People just don't get it. And I know maybe if you're not creating content and you're not compiling stuff together, I've made so many videos, right? Ram makes fun of me about all the times I've made, here's the games that are coming to Xbox, because it's been so fluid. You kind of get an understanding how you can put something together without, knocking the studios out of their workflow. Hopefully. I don't know. What do I know?
Bro, there's so many people in chat saying you should get that job, and I think you should. It's just be perfect. Microsoft, just do it. It makes so much sense. It's not just me looking out for a friend. It just actually doesn't it make sense, chat? You've already said yes, but I think it needs to be done.
They'll hire somebody that knows the ins and outs of like full level editing, graphics, presentation, production, voiceover, audio, like all that stuff. I do all that stuff on my channel, but they'll hire somebody who has a 4-year degree, who has experience in the field, and they'll be able to crank that out.
All that shit doesn't matter, because ultimately in the field, people look at experience. I definitely think you should apply. Phil Spencer, I know you watch every single show. Hiya, Cole. But I hope you get it, bro. And you definitely deserve it. And you need people from the community. And then, we're grassroots here. The Xbox has shown that sometimes there has been a bit disparate or disconnected from the community. So it would make perfect sense. Dan Otaku, I kept trying to read your super chat about these. What the just kept interrupting me. Thank you so much. He says the biggest flop of the state of play was the fact that the games were multiplayer, and I don't think it's that bad, but I kind of get where you're getting at. It's just the narrative that people fed into that's what the shows need to be. But thank you for that. 99 Rukin, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Imagine that after Activision, what they will show. And that's the thing, they have so much to show. It's insane. Radimus Cisco, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Number one, it at Xbox around March. 2, E3 June, EXO around fall, 4 Game Awards in December. Maybe that could work for them if they do it properly. They sure have enough content for that, lads. I think that would work. I'm down with that. That's a good shout. Spaced Over getting with $2 says Colt facts. Colt's hitting there with the sauce. Hoggy Channy, man. You crazy guy. First Paris and now Colt. Absolutely. Paris did a wonderful job last time he was there. Colt would do a better one. So there's so that's finally, and I know Xbox Series show's starting soon, but I just want to say Overwatch 2. I want to talk about this game as part of the title. They're quite interesting. I don't know if I think a lot of people missed this, but basically the community managers come out and they did a video blog, and they said, we recognize, I'm kind of paraphrasing their quote, which I've written here from this year. I've got this one right. We recognize we haven't communicated well, and and honestly, we've let you down when it comes to delivering Overwatch content. We're committed to more continual updates. We will be communicating much more frequently with you. And the closed alpha has begun. After this game was in complete silence, it's you could sign up. In fact, I was so nice. I said, let me copy and paste. Let me write this down for people who want to sign up to the closed beta. They come out closed alpha. They come in waves. So if you don't get in right away, you will be allowed into it later. So do sign up to it. Overwatch 2 is decoupling the PvP and PvE elements, though, in order to get it done. Aaron Keller, the game director, has spoken quite frankly about their struggles with the game. They've had staff shortages, and I think this is the only way they can manage to get Overwatch 2 out in any appreciable timeline. So, I don't know if you guys... I think that's the thing. You both aren't big multiplayer heads, but I loved Overwatch, although there has a PvE element now. Are you hyped about Overwatch, Colt? You're going to put that face on you.
Before you do, Colt, because I've muted everyone, so if they're still talking now, nobody's going to hear. Yodani, we've got your super chat. He says, anyone that watched that last event, state of played themselves. Got to have a little bit of wordplay in there. I'm going to unmute them. Colt, Overwatch 2, go.
I played quite a bit of Overwatch at launch for 2 or 3 months, and then I fell in love with Paladins. I think Paladin is a way better game, so I played Paladins for a year. So yeah, I mean, Overwatch 2 can be great, but Paladins is better, and it's free. I don't know. I really like Paladins. Have you ever played that one, Guess?
No, who cares about Paladin? Why are you playing a fake Overwatch game, man?
Because the characters are way better and the gameplay is way better, and people play the objective and Paladins because they're smart. I don't know. I just liked it.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm not writing it off. I haven't played it.
It is identical.
I just wrote it off.
It is identical. Every character is a mix of an Overwatch character. It is so close. But yeah, I just loved it. But yeah. Flame says Paladins is awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. It's Hi-Res Studios. They make Smite. They have a Fortnite ripoff. They just take a great game and then make it better, I think. I don't know. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah. Paladin. Oh, well, God.
Have you ever seen it?
I have seen it before, but a long time ago. And this
You're a that's if you don't play it. No,
the jetpack lady with the rockets. God, maybe I should play it, but I got to disagree with Colt. Overwatch felt better than Paladins.
Well, your chat agrees with me, so sign off. No, Paladins is really great, and when I think for $20 you can unlock all the characters, and then you've paid for the whole game. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah,
but whatever.
That's good. Finally, very, very quickly, Dead Space Remake's gameplay got revealed, and the game looks sick. If you've never played Dead Space, you just got to stop saying sick. People stopped saying sick years ago, but I just like saying it because it's not rad.
Gnarly.
Rad. I hated the word rad. Gnarly is so lame. Dang,
shut up, Gaz, and do your show.
Game Punisher says Gaz thinks that the only games you pay for is worth your time. Sounds almost like how Sony fans talk. Just say Gaz thinks that only the games you pay for is worth your time. What does he mean? What are you talking about?
He's just making a joke because Overwatch is a full price game. Paladins isn't.
Yeah, he means that you don't.
I didn't even know that.
You don't like.
I thought you pay for Paladins.
You don't like free to play games like Halo and stuff. You know.
What do you mean? The game I only play is Apex Legends, man. That's the
free
joke.
to play.
It's the biggest. All I play. Today I played it. Yesterday I played it. Tomorrow I'll play it.
Oh wow! So you're not even an Xbox guy. You're just a PC. You're just a PC Apex Legends guy. Okay.
I'm a massive Apex Legends guy. If they had cross transfers, I could play. I've spent a lot of money on the microtransactions because I'm a piece of ass. But if I could take that, and they're working on it, it's better than Halo anyway.
Gaz is the reason why we have microtransactions for cosmetics and games.
And I love it. Good. That's it.
So if you're complaining about Halo Infinite,
turned out the way it did,
yeah, there you go.
Wait, no, don't say that.
Because they have all the information from all the accounts on Xbox that spend money on microtransactions and free-to-play games, and Gaz was one of them. They're like, this dude just spent $1,000 on stuff on Apex Legends. Let's just have some more of that content for Halo. You can spend it on.
I spent a lot of money on
Gaz
Halo
bought the
5.
cat ears. You buying all that stuff for Halo?
I bought a lot for Halo 5. That was a bit of a waste of money. I've only spent over 100 on Halo Infinite.
I have a buddy
who spent
$5,000 on Neverwinter Nights.
Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he
Is
owns
that
the IP now,
Dungeons
right?
and Dragons game?
He owns the IP now. Look at this game. Look at Dead Space. Look how sick this looks. It looks so good.
Did you play? Did you play it on the 360, guys?
Yeah, I completed it. It's lovely.
No, I didn't.
Lovely game.
Oh my god,
It's amazing.
Cole, did you play Dead Space?
You frauds! So
Oh
I'm
my
back.
God.
Yes,
I'm
I
back
played it.
in Rand's good books. Xbots Unite. Amazing game. Amazing. One of the best, most unsettling games. The audio utilized in this game was incredible. The whispers, and it's just like psychological horror. It did better than Hellblade in terms of that. Actually, no, that's not comparable. That's a stupid comparison. But great game. The game looks sick, and I like the fact that they are showing it as it's developing. I think it's a little bit far away, but the game looks mad. It looks mad. And final bit of news, Gotham Knights got a release date. And me being the genius that I am, didn't even write what the release date is. It's there. 25th of October 2022 is what they've said, which will probably get delayed. But Gotham Knights is going to be maybe a good game. What do you think about this? I think Suicide Squad is obviously vastly superior in the way it looks. I also think Gotham Knights... This is very early. Chat, I'm gonna bookmark this. What do you think? What meta score do you think Gotham Knights will get? Very early from your thing, chat. I want to know from chat. I love these things, these predictions. What's your thought on the meta score for this cult?
81.
81. See, that's quite interesting. Because we all understand, everyone says the score's subjective, but I think we all share a rapport based on how games are performed. We all share the same kind of idea of what the scoring means. 81 means it's going to be decent, but not.
81 means if you're interested, you should probably just buy it and play it.
Yeah. If you're interested, yeah, that's a good.
But yeah, I think I don't know.
17.
It might be kind of. I don't know. It actually looks like they've kind of got it matured up a little bit, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of the Arkham game, so I don't know what this will. I don't know what this will do. Like if the multiplayer part of it is like if you have to play it with friends, which I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it looks really good. If this
it does,
we'll see.
What about you, Rand? Are you hyped about this?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So. I'm just I have a little concern about it, the co-op stuff and some of the I don't know, the live servicey elements that the game has. I don't know if a Batman game needs that sort of stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah. What about you, Asa? Are you looking forward to
97. They're going to look over at Elden Ring and they're going to give all of the bosses a whole load more damage and health. Everybody's going to die a load, and it's going to be Game of the Year.
So 78. All copying all the wrong elements of Elden Ring. Everyone in chat, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an incredible show. Before we do the outro as well, leading you to different places, I want to say thank you. If you enjoyed the show, please like the button. The news has been slow, but we did okay. I think we did okay.
Please like the button.
I messed up. Please press the like button. Before you guys go, Colt Eastwood, you have not made a video in 2 weeks. You talked about to me yesterday, like, yes, I want to make a video, but I don't know what to do. YouTube is really crap right now. But what is in store for your
it's a weird thing to say because people who watch my channel want to see me report on stuff, but the stuff that's been going on the past couple weeks hasn't interested me enough to sit down and write and compile together. I feel really bad, and but then I don't, because I've spent a lot of time just soaking in, especially after getting COVID 2 weeks ago, soaking in and just playing games and getting some work done at my job and just kind of, I don't know, refreshing. So thank you so much, all of you guys who care and support. Like, it means a ton, because we're all humans behind the camera and on the other side of the screen. So thank you so much. It means a lot. And it's good to be with Asa and Gaz. You guys have helped me so much. And of course, Randall Thor is one of my best friends. So it's good to sit here and talk gaming shop with him. We do it all the time over the phone. Yeah, he's awesome. But thank you so much.
Colt's the best.
Yeah, definitely. Positive vibes. He's trying to be nice, but I'm trying to corrupt him. You done anything for the $5 super chat? Because shout out to the folks that power the show, like shout out to Eternal Umbra, Isla Drummond, Claymar, Danny Snowick, Uwu, and others. We celebrate 1 year of the source. Thank you, Donnie. You love that picture of you in the last source video. It was great. I love that. Last but certainly not least is Randall Thor 19, the man with a 1.3 million. How are you? I hope you had a good time. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for not doing a show right at the same time as us to make sure that we only have more than.
Hey, last week, I did it way earlier.
Thank you for
that.
For
you guys, for you.
I love you.
It was good times. You put on a great show with the sauce, right? Always cool hanging out and not hearing Asa talk about anything as usual, right? He doesn't really have any opinions about anything. Or at least he's never asked to give his opinion. You need to work him in more, Gaz.
He's so... Asa, just interrupt. When Asa, you interrupt, well, I'll let you speak. I just don't know what to do. I just like, Asa, what do you think? No.
Because Asa's intelligent.
I know, that's why if you give people too much of Asa, they will take it for granted.
So I feel like he's just like a monkey in a corner just pressing buttons and doing levers. Right? Like to get the...
Friend,
I'm just saying, like, because I want to hear more Asa, and Asa just is like, I'm just here to just do stuff for OBS because Gaz doesn't want to learn it,
If I learned the show would be a mess. I couldn't even get the right state of play. You want me to run the show?
That is true. Couldn't he? But it doesn't matter. Right state of play, wrong state of play. Apparently, they were still bad.
It's all just
It was all
noise.
shit anyway. Same shit, different toilet. That's what it was.
All just noise until Asa speaks up and brings logic into the conversation anyway. So it's like a nice refresher. Gaz talking and Colt talking is literally like a toilet going into a circle, and then Asa just comes in and just kind of fixes everything.
And while we were doing the show, I was looking up some guides for Elden Ring.
Sauce. Lots of sauce. Asa, before I tell everyone about you, where to go, what are you doing, man? Just tell people.
Monkey pulling levers, doing stuff, Twitch streams. Thanks. No, that was good. That was fun. Yeah, pressing the buttons, pulling the levers. I needed some levers actually. That'd be way more fun than the buttons I've got.
Yeah.
No, it's great. It's always great. We've got Colt and Randall who both talk so well, both host their own fantastic shows and talk so well. So it was expected. I hope everyone in chat has also had a great time. And what was it, Gaz? Liked the button? Have you liked the button? Everybody liked the button.
Did I say that?
You did. I liked it though. Liked the button. And thanks for coming by. Like Gaz has been saying, Xbox Era have a special show today. So by all means, pop over there, see what they've got going on. Might be a fill of unknown origins appearing at some point. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do check them out. Xbox Era. Just type that in one word. And thank you so much. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it on the way out. And I may have that video that I promised, but we'll talk about it. There's a special Source video episode. I just want to say, I said there was a very ambitious Source video. No, you haven't seen it yet because that's still in the works. That's how ambitious it is. It was planned for the 1 year anniversary, but life got ahead of me. But I've got something dank in the works. Even Asa doesn't know. Source. But thank you everyone for watching. Please smash the like button. Oh, we have to talk about GameOnDaily.com. Asa, it's time. Look at the website. It's running smoothly. It's not time. Okay, shit. See you next week. Take care. Like, subscribe.
Next time.
Next time.